So think about this. Closing over 650 million loans in 2024, being ranked one of the top SBA lenders currently, overseeing a staff of 25 people. I am really lucky to have Anthony Pauldin. He oversees the credit group over at First Bank of the Lake, and today he will be sharing how he motivates his staff, how he balances his time, and the challenges he's faced in the industry. So let's get started. I am your host, Dana Hirschkowitz, and welcome to Sweatpants and Strategy. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Welcome to my podcast. I mean, you oversee 25 people, over 25.
Yes, yes,
And
yes. And yeah, and again, thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. Um,
allow you, like, hi, you could be like a staple. No, I'm just kidding.
but no, to answer your question, First Bank of the Lake, again, like I said, I have five credit team leads up under me, and up under them are the credit underwriters. So like I said, staff are like roughly around 25 to 27 people, and then of that staff, they specialize in different areas. I might have a team that specializes in 504. I might have a team that specializes in small business loans of 500,000 or less. I might have a team that specializes in CRE, which is credit real estate. I might have a team that specializes, not might, but I'm sorry, I do
Might
have
you
a
have,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, I do have a team that specializes in ESOPs. Which again, these are very different products that the SBA allows different institutions to use. So you have to have specialized underwriters to know how to underwrite these and know how to articulate them per the SOP, what's required, what are the minimum required, on there. So basically, I have one-on-ones with my credit team leads, throughout the week. And then, I would like to, which I haven't done it just yet because I've only been here since November, because I have so much, like you said, so much to do, is get with the team at least once a month just to share updates. And so what I've been doing is like sending out emails, to the teams of any changes that's with the bank, so to speak, that they need to know about, as well as any changes with the SBA as well, to know that as well. I do have high level meetings again with with the SBA credit team leadership, and then once a week there's meetings also with the bank leadership as well.
Like, yeah,
Um,
like,
you wanted to know, Anthony,
I
what
want it. Well, I
today?
know you're, well, mentioning your schedule, I'm like all over that. Let's just do it at 9 o'clock. So I thank you again for sharing this. So no,
Yeah,
so go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, 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 no problem. And again, with management, to know what's going on, because again, I have to know what's going on high level, so then I can then share it down with my team what's going on, how the upper management level, how it affects us on our level to make sure that we have the right direction, we have the right resources and the plan to implement and do what we need to do on our level. And then, of course, I'm getting emails throughout the week, with the BDOs and then their sales team and management on loans that need to be pre-screened in order to bring them in to my team to make sure I'm okay with it, to bring it into underwriting. And then, oh, and by the way, we're creating new models and new things like, for instance, the small business loan. I mean, the small loan program. We're trying to streamline that with the new process, and so I'm teed up with creating a small loan credit template, as well as a workbook, as well as a commitment letter, to meet what are we trying to do. So we're trying to streamline certain processes, to try to make them easier. But then at the same time, like I said, I'm getting phone calls, I'm getting IM, which is through team.
Bombarded,
I'm
like
getting I'm
stuff.
getting email, so I have to balance my day, with my team, as well as with management, as well as with phone calls that may come in. So I might start at 7 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I might not be done to like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, because again, I'm having to balance that. And then once a month, leadership, we get together and offsite and then for like 2 days, 2 days to discuss things that we need to make sure that we're doing, for the bank as well as for our teams. Then I go back and then we share that information if need be to let my team know what's going on. So a lot, a lot to
That's a
manage
lot. I
in my
mean, I don't know. I mean, well, let's go back to the small, when you talk about, is it the 500 and under space? Is that where you're focused?
yes,
So you're, in charge of developing, not only the software, but do you have, it kind of goes back to a couple questions. In each group, are the underwriters specialized in doing that type of underwriting? So I feel like as a recruiter, when you're doing the 500 and under space, even though you have an underwriter that, that's worked on larger deals, it's better to have somebody who works specifically under the 500 and under space so they can, you guys are a high volume shop. Do you agree? And
yeah,
how much volume do you think that the 500 under space have you done so far?
right. I can't not remember off the top of my head. I know that total last year we did, I think, just under 600,000, roughly million
Okay.
we did.
Okay.
And I think that was a total of 738 or 740 loans. So in that, again, I'm just thinking on the top of my
Just
head,
roughly. Yeah.
there might have been roughly 255 small loans, maybe slightly more than that, of small loans, because you get the small loan, we're talking about 500,000 or less. Dollar amount is not that much.
Right.
Versus when you're talking about loans that we do 2 million, 5 million, four
Right.
million, in there. So we're just trying to streamline this small loan program to be able to implement it, get it in, get it quick, and build a model that we can like get it in, get an approval, and move it on. But then those that don't fit that model, we still gonna have to underwrite them fully, in a small loan, with a small loan. But I think on an average, our small loans, we were underwriting like 3.5 days or 5 days, on small loans. Which is still, compared to if you have a complex loan,
Yeah.
you're looking at 7 to 10, maybe 15 days, because there's more information, there's more financials or more questions that you may have because of the larger loans require
Right.
a lot more unskilled underwriting, so to speak, and you got to use that brain to sharpen to make sure you understand the deal, and articulate it as you're underwriting it. But you were saying that you have small loans, you want people to be able to come in. It's not much because small loan program, the SBA allows you to underwrite differently compared to 500,000 and more.
More.
So we can scale our underwriting to a little bit less.
Fit it.
So we want to get those in and get those out because they're small loans and they're small in dollar amounts, but it's kind of like you want to kind of get them in and get them out and keep them moving.
Production.
So where I come from, you want to make sure that you have people that if one area is like need help, that someone can step in. Okay, I even though I might not know ESOPs, say or know CREs, you want somebody to be able to come in and underwrite them quickly. Even though they might be in small loans and only know small loans, you want to at least have people that are at least diverse. So if one area needs help, that you can pick it up. Like this morning, one of the team leads reached out to the other team leads. Hey, I got loans coming in, and my team is already capacity. Can someone help? And so then I chimed in this morning and said, yes. I said, if anyone on your team can help, I really appreciate that. And immediately, one of the team leads came back with one of their underwriters said, yes, I can help. I want to do 500. I want to do loans over 500,000. So yeah, I'll step in and help. And that's what you want to people to step in and help and be able to be diverse and working, different types of loans.
Well, I mean, when you have that volume, so it sounds like you run a collaborative team, and so you keep them informed. And so how do you, yeah, I guess it goes back to the question, how do you motivate them to be not like, like how do you motivate them to keep on track, getting
Right.
in, getting in the loans? How do you motivate your people? Because there's so
Yeah.
many.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the loans come through, like say, they come through Encino, which is our,
Right.
our system of record. So the team leads then would get those loans based on their pods that they're working on, and then they would then strategically distribute those loans based on load level. To make sure that we're load leveling the underwriters. And if this underwriter already has two, this one only has one, then you're going to make sure that that equals up to be two. But also the team leads are underwriting loans as well. So they're involved in it as well. So I make sure and I have a great team leads that know how to manage their teams. They have pods. Some of them have pods as well with their teams, and then they have weekly meetings with their teams to discuss changes that I would share with them that they're going to share down with them, so they make sure that they're abreast. If there's any questions, then they tee it back up to me, and then I would answer those questions, back down to their team. But for the most part, I share with my team everywhere I've been. I don't micromanage. I'm not a micromanager
That's good.
because this is my philosophy. If we hired you to do a job, you should know your job based on the skills in the skill set that we give you to meet your job. And then you sign up saying that I can meet these skill sets, I can meet these requirements, I can do this. Now then we'll find out down the road if you can't, because when I have the one-on-ones with you, then I'm gonna share with you, well, you said you can do this, but you're not meeting the expectations. So what is it that you're unable to do? Or are you telling me that I need to look elsewhere because you're not able to perform to what you're doing? My team will tell you I'm very upfront with them, because just like my job is on the line, I'm here to produce, I'm here to lead, I'm here to, in every institution, you're here to make sure the shareholders are happy.
Yes.
You make sure that the board is happy.
Right.
Because they're happy because when they make money.
Right.
They're not happy when they lose money,
No.
or when productivity does not match what they're expecting us to to drive in and bring in revenue and bring in profit in there. So, I'm always up front with my team. I let them know that, I'm depending on you to lead your team. And when there's an issue, then I'll have to address it with them and talk with them. But everyone will tell you I'm always positive with them, but at the same time, I'm always sharing with them. If we don't produce, then this is going to be a different discussion. This is going to be the discussion will not be the same like it was when we had discussion last week or last month. So again, for the most part, again, we have a great team. Everyone knows their roles. They know their responsibilities. They know what they need to do, and they allow me to at least do what I need to do.
On top.
Up top. But again, sometimes it could be overwhelming. But again, I know that when I get up in the morning, at night, I'm already thinking what I have to focus on the next day, and I have my list of what I need to get done by the next day. Because if my boss reaches out to me and needs something done, Anthony stops what he's doing, because that's not important anymore, to get to my boss what they need, because they're expecting it, even though they're not expecting it, and they say
They
that.
expect it. The underlying meaning is
Right,
that they expect it.
right,
But
right.
by first talking to you, you were so, I mean, we just met, and we've both been in the industry like 20 years. So by talking to you, positive, articulate, funny. And so one of the things that we were talking about is how you promote, your employees, to maybe, cultivate them to become managers and then, fly the coop. And so there's not a lot of people out there. I think that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. And it's because other shops that I was at, and I've had underwriters follow me at
Oh,
other
that's how
shops.
it goes. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They follow me because they like my management style. They like how I manage people. Again, uh, I'm a person that you have to provide your people with the resources they need to do their job. And if you're not being an effective manager by, number one, providing the resources, then sharing the resources with them and breaking it down for them to understand it in layman's term. So they say, oh, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? That's an effective, good leader. And then when you have people in front of you and you look at them eye to eye, and you have their undivided attention, that is their one-on-one with you, and they feel that they're getting the training that they need to do their job. And I tell them, I said, Anthony won't be sitting in his chair this much longer. So my job is to train up the next generation to take my job, but then not just take my job, but take my job and take it to the next level where I couldn't take it because their young, innovative minds
Yep.
would think more than what Anthony's old cruddy
Yep.
cruddy mind used
Well,
to
no, no,
think.
wait. It's, it's different. I was having this conversation with somebody, it's not about, it's like different perspectives,
Right.
we grew up in, not, a phone world, but,
Nope.
you also, when you also teach them, you're teaching them, right, your knowledge,
Yep.
but also how to, do the SBA
Yep.
and to keep up on it, right?
Yep.
So it's not about, negating you.
Right.
It's about just enhancing what
Yeah. Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
bring.
And the thing about it is, it makes me proud to know the young people that I've trained that are now managers, credit managers, at other shops. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that I had some
Something
hand
to do with it.
to do with it, and they keep telling people, listen, no, no, Anthony's the one that got me where I'm at. I said, no, no, you didn't.
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
he did
no.
it.
You know.
It's
I
his
said,
fault.
no.
He did it.
No, and I
I'm
said
just
I don't
kidding.
want, and I don't want that. I want them. I want them to. Yeah, they worked hard. They accomplished what they accomplished. They made it where they wanted, where they wanted to be at. So, again, we all know that in our chairs, we're not going to be in these chairs much longer.
Right.
Would it be 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. So you need to make sure you train up the next generation to prepare and make sure that the model is is built. Because again, like I said, I've been to shops where I created the policies, the procedures, the guidelines, the job aids, and I left those there. And those shops are still using what I left, with some enhancements. So I want to make sure that when I leave this seat, I leave it better than what it was. Not saying that it wasn't when I took it over, but better than what it was when I leave.
I mean, that's how it should be done.
Yeah.
And so I know you came from, spent a little time at Dogwood and, you have a 20-year, banking history.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, each shop. Each shop is different.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
kind of challenges did you face, like when you first started and building up all the way to First Bank of the Lake?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the first SBA shop I started was Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo was the number one SBA
Hmm.
lender at the time when I got involved. And then Wells Fargo, I call it, is a silo because which it is, because you don't know anything outside of you know Wells Fargo. Like, I never went to NAGO conferences, so I know anything about that. There was the SOP, but we never did any other products other than just 7A, 504s, and Express. You know, Even though those other products were there, we only strictly focus on those. I remember back in the day, the BDO was sending a big old, this
Big
is
old
their,
book.
yes, yes, and they were sending it in, and then the credit analyst would then have to break out that book and break it out, you know, in order to make sure we have everything before it's assigned to an underwriter. In the underwriting, there was different because they had their own system, their own model. They didn't share what anyone else did. That was their model. This is what they used, their systems, how they did everything. And then and I noticed that after a while, recruiters were coming after people at Wells Fargo and SBA because they knew SBA. And so then I left there and went to a small community bank. And there I began to open up my mind more because I was so rigid on what we did at Wells Fargo. I began to find out, well, we don't necessarily have to do it that way. Long as we cite what the SOP state, and long as we cite what is our policies, because the SOP always states, they're going to give us what they state, but they're also going to show what is if your bank policies is more stringent than ours, you're going to go with your bank policy, which most places do. So I began to open up my mind more by going to another SBA shop that wasn't Wells Fargo. Begin to not saying anything bad about Wells Fargo,
No, it's
make sure you
different.
understand it. But I
Everybody's
begin to
different.
think outside the box more on products and resources and tools that the SBA that the SOP showed, and I begin to underwrite more. I begin to write rapidly, fast. I begin to use my mind more. Begin to think of how we can make a deal work. And package it together. And then I began to move up very quickly when everyone said, okay, he's thinking
He's
outside the
smart, and we're
box.
gonna move him up.
Right, right, right. And then other SBA shops reached out to me, and I went to other SBA shops, and I grew more there. Then another SBA shop reached out to me, and I grew there, and I began to manage teams, from there. And so each shop that I went from, I began to expand and learn more, and begin to sharpen my tools, and begin to explain why we do things and why we do. And then I began to get into the SOP more because one of the things I tell people is, and plus the SOP has evolved as well. It's
Oh
changed
my
for all
God,
these
it's
years.
gonna change like 5 times this year. Who knows?
Yes, because I can remember looking at the SOP and it was black and white. To today, it's more gray.
You're
And the
not the
reason
only
I
credit. You're not the only person to say that.
And I
That
say that because now they're leaving it up to the lender to use prudent lending to interpret more or what it's saying. Even though they've taken with the black and white and made it gray, we still have to provide prudent lending. We can't just say, well, it's nowhere in the SOP because now it's gray. No, we still have to be prudent lenders on why we do what we do based on what our policies are. Because, prime example, the SOP says may, should, but then you see the word that says must.
must.
When you
So it's
see the
very
must, that is no if,
so
ands, or but.
confusing.
There's no confusing. This is what we have to do per the SOP. But then when it says may or should, that leads to interpretation. Because then we got to make sure that we have our firewalls and our policies to dress around what it says should or may, but we already have what the must be.
Why is it so confusing? Why? They're already messing with our heads, so
Yep.
they
Yep.
just kind of do it more. I mean,
Yep.
kind of we were talking about that after the 40th anniversary of Nagel, Do What You Do, and how even, I had a closing manager on, and so even any aspect of a job, it's not clear on what they expect of you.
Mhm.
And so, again, I'm sure it's, changing, ever change. How do you like, I know it's confusing, but I know, and you do the best that you can to interpret that, but yeah, how do you do it? How do you-
Yeah, yeah. But the good thing about it is, again, Anne Marie, she's great.
yeah, she's
She's on the
great.
NAGLE board, and things that come up, we reach out to her just to make sure, and then she would get back to NAGLE, and then they would come back, opine on what it needs to be, what it should be, and then at the same time, she's great because then we tighten up on our policies and guidelines and procedures to make sure that we address those things. So having someone on the NAGLE board and work at the bank and that's a leadership position is a major plus for us as well. And then if things come up, we'll bounce it off of each other to make sure that we understand whether it be the BDOs, whether it be in credit, whether it be in closing, whether it be in construction, or even whether it be in servicing. We want to make sure that we bounce things off of each other to make sure it's something that we're not missing. So, First Bank of the Lake again has great managers that knows their jobs in the BDOs, that knows their jobs in credit, that knows their jobs in closing, that knows their job in servicing and in workouts or SAG, so to speak. So, this bank has brought in great leaders that's been around the SBA for years, 20 plus years. So you might say we have like 100 years of experience here at this bank of leadership.
That's probably what attributes to you being, ranked up there. And it sounds like the management, from what you're saying, has a collaborative effort, as you said. And it sounds like you have a collaborative effort with your staff. And so, one of those things that, you look for, I guess, in a manager is kind of like being open to ideas, motivating them. And well, actually, a question for you that I don't know, I've been doing, recruiting, and my favorite positions are credit and closing. And so I was wondering when you look, or let's just say a credit analyst, when you interview people, whether at the shop before, how do you identify a superstar? How do you identify this person is going places. What do you
Right.
look for?
Well, the most important thing that I tell people, I'm looking for that person that's enthusiastic, that's excited, but is willing to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing, you get people, and yes, they might not have the skill set you're looking for, and you look at their resume and you see, can you work with this person? And then you get on the interview, and I'm looking at their faces just to see, what they learned or what they know, and then I'm asking, well, this job entails this, this, and this. Do you think there's something that you can learn? And I watch their face because you and I know, because by your recruiter, body
Yeah,
language,
like, I know,
body
like,
language speaks a lot to people.
it
And,
does.
and so if you tell me, I don't know that, but I'm willing to learn. But you see, but versus, I don't know that, but trust me, I'm willing to learn. I will come in and I'll work, and I will do what needs to be done. Versus, I
I
just
see.
did 2
Yeah,
minutes
of
ago.
course.
Yeah, I'm willing to learn. It's like they've already been defeated before they even had a chance to even allow themselves, to position themselves for the job. So yes, for a credit analyst, someone who can come in, who knows, tax returns, who can read tax returns. If you don't, we can teach you what we need to you learn about it to spread the financials. Because the bank where I came from, we had we had interns that came in and
Yeah.
did all those things for us. But at the same time, they went from interns then to now analysts, whether it be credit analysts or sales
Yep.
analysts. And then I would train them on what to look for in tax returns, on financials, on P&L statements, balance sheets, APs and AR aging summary reports. I look at numbers and say, look at this. And then I spread them out and I say, I want you to look at this. This is what I see. So they can see what I see. So then why something doesn't cash flow, and then why it does cash flow. We're looking at the person's PFS. We're looking at the personal tax return. I break things down, but I want them to look and see what I see, and then a month later, and I want you to bring it to me and show me what you see, so I can look and see if we're on the same page. Because I'm giving them ownership. Because I want them in order for them to be the best underwriter, to be the best BDO, to either be the best closer if they decide to go closing, or be a PM in servicing. They got to understand the numbers. They got to understand what they're looking at. So if you got a credit, analyst that we're interviewing, and they're willing to learn, they have a blank slate. You show me your way, and then I can then that's fine. Versus someone, well, this is how I used to do it, and this is how we did it. Well, it's not going to be a fit with me because I'm looking for someone. If you're in line with me, yeah, well, we're fine. But if you're not in line with me in your way and you don't have the experience, to me that you're going to come in, you're going to try to change what I'm trying to do. You're not going to work with me. You're going to work against me.
Right, correct. You think it's all about, I mean, from what I'm hearing from you and what I see, I don't know, from what I see lately, there's, but there are credit people with a personality and just like not. But they're so smart that they come across like this. And there are certain shops that have that personality. So, you know, I know we just started working together with the analyst that, I presented to you. He has a personality. And as soon as I, heard you and as soon as I hear him, as a recruiter, you want to match, I think you're right. If you find the right personality skill set, you could teach it and you match the personality. But, one of the things, one of the things I encountered, I did a placement with a national lender, and the credit person came from Huntington. And so it was again another high production shop, but she lied. She lied and told me she had 7 years of experience and they were working off of a new software system. And have you ever interviewed somebody encountered, this isn't gonna work?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny you said that. I have in different roles, in it, because you look at their resume and then you ask them the question, because the resume is the first intriguing thing that intrigues you when to interview someone.
Right.
So then when you interview them and you ask them questions and the questions doesn't line up with their resume,
No,
stating.
she answered the questions beautifully.
Right,
She had the
right,
right answers, and in my 20 years of experience,
hmm,
and I've never encountered that.
right.
So, what kinds of what are the top three questions you ask on an interview, but with somebody with experience? Let's just
Right.
say that 5 to 10 year mark, 5 to 15
Yep.
mark.
Yep. 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 Yeah. One of the questions I asked, like you said, is how long you been doing SBA? Then the second question I asked is what type of loans have you underwritten in SBA? And, like are they complex? Are they quick and easy? In there. And then the third question I ask is if you have you ever been been in an adverse situation with a borrower call or with a BDO or whatever, how did you handle that?
That's a really good question. Hey, guess what, Anthony? Have you ever been in a situation with a disgruntled customer, and how did you handle it?
Yes, I did. I
How
have.
did you
Yeah,
handle it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. A prime example. Customer was upset, was yelling and screaming. This is not what I was told. This loan is. I'm not gonna say what he said. SBA. I don't believe in this product. I was told this, and you guys are not doing what you said, and all this. And again, I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer. As you can see, I stayed down, and I
You're
and, and I
so
said,
calm.
right, right, and I said, Mr. Barber, I said, I cannot discuss what we discussed with you before you got to me. All I'm able to do is discuss you now that you're in front of me. It is in credit. I'm going to do everything based on what we can do per the SOP and then what our bank policies can do. I'm sharing this with you because I'm the one that has the pen that can approve or not approve of this. I'm sharing with you what I can or what I can't do. But I will share this with you. I need for these things in order for me to be comfortable with me approving your loan. I said, now I can't tell you what happened before me, but I will tell you if you provide everything that I need to be able to get this loan through, to get it approved through our bank, and then also get it SBA approved, then you provide this information, then we should be able to get your loan through the process. But no, I'm not going to tell you that we're going to close it by tomorrow. No, I'm not going to tell you that we're going to do this to appease you. I'm not going to tell you that. Again, and not until we get this in the closing, and not till the closing, able to sit down with you to find out what they have, if they're able to tell you that. And he said, you know what? You're the first person that gave me an honest answer.
You're fun. I mean,
Right, right, right. You didn't blow smoke up. I'm not gonna say what to say.
no, I know.
Right, right. You told me, you gave me an honest answer, and ever since then, that borrower would not call no one else. They called me. I said, okay, I can't. I'm not in closing. I'm not. No, but you're the honest person. I know. If I call you, you're gonna give me an honest answer. You know.
Well, last week I was talking to Kay Anderson, and we kind of talked about process and how, we were talking earlier, each part is different, with the BDO underwriter closer. Can you tell me, how it works at First Bank of the Lake, with the process? And, do they communicate with the borrower? Like, so you get a deal in and then what happens?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I'm still learning again the
I
process,
know.
here, but I know for the most part, the BDOs submit their deals to their VDAs or sales specialists. They get it implemented, get it in the system, make sure they have everything for the borrower, and then Encino would then send it say this is now ready for credit, and then the credit team would then look at it to make sure that they have everything. Now, the BDOs would have already spoken to the borrowers, the brokers, whoever they're speaking to. And then once it comes into credit, then the credit team has to speak with the borrower. They have to, look at the numbers, look at the spreads, write down their questions, reach out to the borrower to set up a borrower interview with the borrowers. Again, I know in my past, again, I don't know for sure how we do it here yet, but in my past, whenever I got on the call with the borrower, I include the BDO on the call as well,
Hmm.
because and the reason I do that because I want the BDOs to know what questions that Anthony asked to a
Nice.
borrower. So
Nice.
then when the BDO and I've had a lot of BDOs tell me, you know what? After they called me and said, I would have never thought to ask those questions. I'm glad that you invited me on
Right,
this
because it's
on
a
this
different
call.
perspective.
Right, because then it's going to streamline. the credit underwriting a lot sooner. We still have to talk to the borrower. But now, if a BDO asks these questions, then now I'm going to say, Ms. Dana, I said, I see here that the BDOs ask you the question about such and such and such and such. Is that correct? Yes.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
Versus, I'm going to ask you up front. And so, and the BDO's like, wow, I didn't never thought to ask that question because I didn't think that that was important. But it's important to credit because we're underwriting it, and we got to make sure that we cover everything. That when the reader reads that credit memo, we covered everything that pops up on financials, or that pops up that on a person's tax returns, or on the PFS, or in the business plan, or in their assumptions. Anything that pops up, we have to articulate that in our credit memo. Again, not taking anything away from our videos. Our videos are great. They're sales. They're focused on
Right.
sales, but but now they're going to focus on not only sales, but on credit, or what credit is looking for, that they're going to put in their write up to get it through faster.
It makes sense. So, one of the things you also mentioned in process is, I know obviously you're not, closing, but what, great. You and the credit person done, borrower good, same page. Then moves on to closing. How do you communicate? Do the underwriter and closer communicate on what? Obviously they do, but
Right, right,
to make
right.
sure it's on the same page.
Yeah, yeah, because the closer, once they're done, then everything's submitted to. I'm sorry, the underwriter, when they're done, submit everything to the closers, and then the closer's going to review everything. But it's important from the closer's perspective that when they get a commitment letter, or when they get a credit memo from the underwriter, those conditions are in there. What are we conditioning for to close? You know what I'm saying? Now the closers already have their conditions, knowing if it's a real estate purchase, they already know they got to have the title, they got to have the survey, they got to have the appraisal. Those are things that they're already conditioned for. But if there are things that they're not conditioned for, it's very important that the underwriter put in their condition approval. What are the other things that they need for the borrowers to send into closing, so the closers can make sure that they gather those documents. So just as important for sales and credit to have an open dialogue, it's mostly important for credit and closing to make sure that there's an open dialogue, and that they have, and that closers have what they need from credit, but at the same time, the credit team is articulating in their credit memo exactly what is needed, why it's needed, to get the loan done. And then it's very important, again, where I came from, that we do what's called a warm handoff to the closers. And the reason why it's important, because, hi, Dana, this is Anthony. I'm submitting you a new loan. This loan is for $2.5 million. It's a business acquisition. It's a seller carry. Also, the closing is set for March the 31st. The borrowers are very receptive, very good borrowers, or the borrower is high strung. They're very, so therefore they might need some hand holding. I'm giving you a warm handoffs so you can understand the deal. So when it comes to you, you won't be blindsided by what I just said or what's going on. That's what I created at my old team, is to have the underwriters to do a warm handoff to the closers in an email, along with the attachment of the credit memo, along with the attachment of the commitment letter, so they have that, and then highlight, or in the credit memo on page 26. I just want to give these highlights for you, versus the closers going in, reading everything like they didn't
Like,
tell me
wait, what?
that.
Where's that? What happened? Where is it? Right.
Right.
So, do the closers communicate as well with the borrower?
Yes. Yes.
So,
So there's the introduction call with the borrower to the BDO. There's the introduction call with the borrowers to the credit person. Now there's actually, if it's construction, there's an introduction call to the construction team, because along with the general contractor, because you got construction involved. And then there's an introduction call with the closer, with the borrower, along with, I think our attorneys, our legal counsel, as well, if they have it here, because now the closer is going to give the borrower a checklist. Hello, Dana. I'm Anthony, your closer. Welcome. I'm gonna Nice to meet you. I'm gonna be your closer. closing your loan. I'm gonna send you out a checklist within the next 24 to 48 hours of things that I need from you or your attorney, and then we'll schedule a time to get on the call and talk.
What? I have to do more work? I'm just kidding. Do you get that? Do you ever get that? Like, oh,
Of course, of course.
from the borrower?
Yeah, and the borrower said that to me, and I reminded him. I said, "This is no different if you did a mortgage.
No.
The mortgage requires documents all the time. Oh, and by the way, you've already sent them your bank statements. They're going to actually send you bank statements again, which is 45, 60 days later. Oh, I've already sent that to you. Well, it's been 45, 60 days. Can you still send? It's no different than a mortgage company requesting and asking for more documents. And I tell the borrowers, I said, this is a government loan. The government is guaranteeing this loan. So since the government is guaranteeing this loan, we need to make sure that we have everything we need. So if ever the government comes in and review our documents, that we have everything based on what is required per the SOP.
I want to come work for you. Will you teach me you don't want me to work for you. I'd be calling you like every 5 minutes. Wait, what's that?
I'm
What'd you
not used. I'm used to it.
No, yeah, no. I love this because you're so motivating and you're so like articulate and you're like my new hero. It's hard to find, look, we talked about, navigating with groups in SBA. You go where you're comfortable, but you really jumped out of the box. I mean, look, you're at First Bank of the Lake, and the way you manage it sounds like more, I guess, no, I don't want to say more managers, but your management style seems almost seamless. So then, look, if you what would you say to, hi, I'm Dana. I'm a senior credit analyst. No, I'm not. I was like, I don't want that. Anyway, Anthony, give me some advice. How do I get to where you are? What would you say?
Yep. I said, Dana, well, you're already in a good place. I said, so you're learning the SOP, you're underwriting. I'm sorry, you're underwriting. You're a senior credit analyst. So the next step is I need to move you to roll into a junior underwriter to be able to underwrite loans so that you can understand, the loans, understand, why we do what we do, understand the business that's in front of you, understand, is it a sound business? Understand if we're going to lend to them, are they going to be able to pay us back? Because at the end of the day, if we can't cash flow, number one, I tell anyone that wants to do this job, we got to be cash flow lenders. If the deal does not cash flow, then why are we giving them the loan?
Then why are you doing it? Right.
Yeah, in it. But at the same time, if it doesn't cash flow, then that's when Dana, the senior credit analyst, what are you going to do? Think outside the box, Dana, to see if you can try to make this deal work. Because Anthony's going to look for Dana to provide solutions on a workaround. And so in order to get my job, I didn't get it easy, is I worked up my way up to provide solutions to make a deal work. At the end of the day, if we don't have any more solutions, and the end be all is it's an automatic decline because you filed BK or you lied on your 1919, things of that nature, or you committed a felony. Those are not an option. Those are not a workaround. You know what I'm saying? But there could be workarounds, and if you can work around those things, your BDOs become your best friends. I have BDOs that can tell you today that we are great friends. We are still friends to this day. Even though I might have declined their deal, even though the deal did not work out, they walked away understanding what Anthony is thinking with Credit Mind. And then I know you said the credit analyst, but a lot of BDOs got with me and say, I want to have one-on-one with you. I want to learn Anthony's way of getting a loan done. I want to learn. I want to understand what you're looking at and what you want to do for me to get the loan done. And there are a lot of BDOs, I can tell you, that they sat down with me and they understand where I'm coming from. And a lot of them will call me, hey, I got a deal. I'm going to bounce a deal by you. I got a deal and this, and this. What do you think? Then I said, well, you can do this, and this. Then you should be fine. You can pay in the credit. Okay, great. You know what I'm saying? And then I train the underwriters to think like that. You need, the BDOs are not your enemies. We are all on the same ship together. And the BDO's job is to brings deals in so they can close. Your job is to make sure you underwrite those deals so they can close. So we're not enemies. We're on the same ship. So I tell my underwriter, you need to pick up the phone and talk to your BDOs. Talk through a deal. Let's find a solution to it. And if you can't find a solution to it, then tee it up to me, which I hope by that time you've already had a solution before you tee it up to me, on that. And so those are your best BDOs that's gonna work with their underwriters and make sure a deal work versus trying to cram a deal in, hoping it works. And then now you got a frustrating borrower because you tried to cram it in versus let's talk through it. Let's talk to how we can make the deal work. Then you're gonna have a satisfied borrower knowing that, hey, you know what? Thank you. You reach out, and everything goes smoothly versus there's ups and downs because we're not working together. We're working against each other.
Yeah, you don't want to be like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd.
Yes.
You want to be
Yes.
like on Noah's Ark when everybody's different and you're
Right.
trying to sail to the land. Everybody
Yes.
has a story. You're all on the same team. I
Yeah.
mean, we should write a book. You write a book and then how to collaborate with BDOs, and then I'll write a book. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to write a book. You write the book.
No, you write the book. No, you
No,
write the
you write the
book.
book. I'm not going to write a book. I mean,
You write a book.
maybe we can collaborate on a book. Like, maybe when we're retired and just, I love your philosophy. I love your energy. I really love how you, take charge of what needs to be done in your day to day. I'm sure you, must, I don't know, like I don't know how you handle it because like, I have a 12-year-old daughter and I walk into, I'm a classroom mom and I walk into her classroom. There's 15, 12-year-olds. After 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. So it's like you have 25 employees, you know, your patience level. So it comes through.